we talk about this. I don't know if you have yet this term, but about your reputation. Even if your reputation here at school precedes you, and we'll be there when you get into the industry, because most of the people around here are probably going to be in the industry somehow, one way or another. And if not, at least peripherally, or at least very vocal about it, because I'm sure after you graduate, you think you're going to know everything about the industry. So always be ragging on people in studios. But yeah. So how you treat others and yourself, and how you work in this environment here in this class, particularly, will also have an effect. So in other words, just again, be respectful to people and be on time and help each other out and act like a team and things like that. If there's anything that's keeping you from doing any of that, let us know. We're happy to help whenever way possible. So we are at week 3, and last week we talked about the sprint being 3 weeks. So that means that this is the end of the first sprint. So we will have the sprint review today. We'll have your milestone build reviews, as we can call it. We'll show off what you guys have done so far. We expect that the news teams probably are still in pre-production, so let's hear what you have going on with that, where you're going to go next. After we do this morning, I want you to, of course, do your stand-ups, your term meetings like usual, but then I also want you guys to, as a team, do a sprint retrospective, which is, again, basically, if you see down here, we go through the whole track, right? At the bottom, at the end, you have the sprint review. That's what we're going to do, and you have your sprint retrospective, which is to get back to the end of your group and talk about the things that worked and didn't work. And there's always a good idea to kind of take either something that worked or something that didn't work of that sprint and try to either replicate it or make sure that you kind of nip it for the next sprint. So you're always constantly growing as a team. So if you do that, you can imagine you've got 5 sprints, well, 4 sprints. 4 retrospectives, you'll be able to keep growing as a team throughout this term. So that's something that we want to make sure that you guys do. It's something that we can't really check on or something, so we're hoping that you work on it. I mean, we do meet with the leads, and you will be meeting as in disciplines, so if you have questions around that kind of stuff, ask each other or ask during those meetings. But we want you guys to not only grow it individually, but also as teams.
Quick interjection there.
What's that?
If you want to record that session, that would be really vital information
Yeah.
for your online team as well. You can also go ahead and post that inside your milestone review and retrospective item in that common UAT Game Studio shell. But in here is where you want to do your written form for your grade as 281 people. So make sure that team leads are getting your links in here for your online people as well as your on-ground people for your sprint materials or your milestone materials. But you can also record that session where you talk about what worked, what didn't work. Put that in here too if you'd like.
Yeah, and include the online students in that conversation as well. So if there's something you know that did or didn't work with online students, talk about it in theirs too, because then when they watch it, they can get feedback and also they give you follow-up feedback. So we'll do bill reviews, we'll go out, you do your stand-ups and your retrospectives, then we'll have lunch, then we'll do the meetings again. Hugh, I saw us here, you do the programmers meeting. Yep. We'll do the leads. Are you going to do any art meeting, Lynn, too? Or?
Yes, actually we have Josh Milano who's taking that for today.
Cool. And Derek hasn't been here, so I'm not sure that the designers are going to meet. So this work, or to meet on your own, meet together too, and talk where you're at and see if there's anything going on. And then you have work time, and then after that, I recommend another sprint planning meeting at the end of the day. At some point during the day to talk about what you're going to do for the next 3 weeks, right? Your next sprint. So look at your ethics or your task lists and see where you got and see what you want to include for the next 3 weeks.
So here in the shell, this is primarily for 281 folks, since 381 and 481 have been through it. But here is some lecture materials just to sort of encapsulate what it is that we do on sprint reviews. Now, chances are if you've been through the 125 course, you're well up to speed on sprint planning. So this is use it just as a recap. You can go ahead through here, look at Scrumbut and how that deviates from Scrum and how we use that in the UAT Game Studios. And again, each team is going to deviate in their own way because of what you're working on. but this is information for you. Today we were going to plan a planning poker session, and I think we're going to check in with the leads first, see how that applies to your individual scrum butt types of planning sessions, and see how applicable that is before we go forward with that. So you've got two shell items. You've got the lecture for Agile Sprint Planning, and then you have one for your, let's see, what did I name that? Projections, and sprint planning will also cover your poker planning. So there are a couple of hot links in here so you can quickly get up to speed on how that works. You also have a way to sprint or to print those cards if you want to give that a try. I also have plenty of 3x5s if you want to create your own and give that a shot today. You new teams that are not using it yet. Okay.
Axosoft, all the licenses have been converted now.
I got an email 2 days before I got it.
For the new one?
Was it just your license is expiring too?
More than I need to send something else.
I got an email saying that mine is expiring soon too, but mine is also been converted to a professional account.
Take a look inside. It should be, she confirmed yesterday it's all converted now, and I told her to keep your new one, not the old one, because she did have the old one.
Okay, I'll check.
And anybody else experiencing any good? They all should be converted over, they all should be fine at this point. Who was at the game jam this last week?
Okay.
Okay, cool. So make sure that you send us emails about that, so we can get credit. That's the best way to do it, because we lose track of things otherwise. And if you send us an email, then we can just, once we see the email, we can just put that into the shelf. But I just want to say you guys did an excellent job. The game jam this time, we had 127 developers, and 29 games were made. So that was pretty good for 48 hours. Most of those games were very interesting, and all of them were playable from what I understood, which is a huge leap from previous jams. So I think what I found interesting is that a lot of people, especially UAT students, focused on scope and really got polished experiences put together that had mechanics that worked. So that, I think the biggest things that didn't work on some of it were technology. Trying to incorporate the Tobii eye tracker this time around was a bit more difficult than last year, which I was a bit disappointed in, but companies like to play around with their SDK APIs on them. So again, yeah, you guys did an awesome job. The winning team was Whiskered Away, their game. Is anybody from the team here? No. So some of the Crimson Knights team people, so they'll be going to GDC. We have a booth there. They'll be showing their game off at GDC this year. Second place was a group, the Terrasec and Waiting Cane Studios collaborated to create a VR chess game, which was pretty cool. They won Best Art and an ASU group of students, 2 of whom won the Tobii eye tracking award. So really cool stuff, really cool things coming out of that. Tobii actually came back to me and said they were really happy with Wave, even though we only had like 4 games and 3 of those didn't really work really well because of the technology. He was happy because he told me he sent, okay, so here's some numbers. There were over 700 locations globally. And this year, Tobii was a sponsor, and you could sign in and send them a thing and say, I want eye tracker at my location so my developers can use it. So it wasn't like they just sent them out there, but they actually asked for them. So they got they sent out 226 of those. So those are, each one of those is about $150 or so. So make some math there, right? So they're just giving this stuff away. And he said that out of the 226 that they sent out, there were only 70 games made throughout the whole jam on those eye trackers. So for him, it wasn't that big of a win. But for us, we had 4 of those 70. So that was already pretty good. Last year, we had 7 teams that worked on the eye trackers. So he is happy with our location. And just one thing I wanted to add is that he said, if there are any games that any of you are working on or have already even launched that are first person or third person, and you're able to add eye tracking to that, they have several $1,000s that they can give at small levels like that. So as a developer, it kind of behooves you sometimes to just either have a project that you're working on, or several, or think about how you can incorporate technology or partnerships to at least keep you going, to get extra cash, to get extra visibility, and so on. You guys remember Tristan Moore? He was a graduate here. He came in a couple times to talk. He broke into the studio. Actually, he teaches now here too online. Broken Window Studios, they're doing some VR things, including Reflections, which uses Toby, and the person's head moves based on if you're looking at them or not. Well, he was supposed to be here showing Toby off, but when they found out that the Unity headquarters was holding a global game jam, Toby sent him out there to San Francisco to be at the Unity headquarters and show the people there how to use Toby and integrate it in their games. Again, just another interesting example of how, as a developer, if you're partnered up with an interesting tech company or software company or anything else around this, a distributor, whatever, publisher, there are really awesome opportunities that they can help put you in touch with, right? So so him getting out there, I'm sure he met a bunch of interesting people, got recognition for being an expert for what he does, and so on. So it's so even those small things, as you move through this, you should try piecing together and see how it fits with your agenda, with your goals, with your games, and stuff like that. But yeah, anyways, good job everybody on the Global Game Jam. Let us know and we'll give you extra credit. Who's going to GDC? Cool. Every year, the students who go always walk away with something.
So hopefully you all have your hotel.
Huh?
Hope you all have a hotel and transportation. If not, you better be planning now.
Stay safe.
Ben was talking about driving the van, so see him about that. It's a wild ride.
Make it up to the LA portion of the trip.
Yeah. They'll fly in Palm Springs. It's like we're hanging out here. Cool. Should we do the reviews?
Yeah, okay. Again, if you came in late, make sure your phone is off. Leads, as you're presenting, make sure that you can be seen. This is for your online students as well as everybody else viewing these. Your camera is right here. If we're not using this camera, we are sharing your screen as well. So as you come up, speak clearly, make sure your volumes are up. You know the routine. All right. The last thing is, don't shut the OBS down. That includes the Google sign-in for UAT Game Studio, so be really careful there. All right, let's start with Calclord. Come on up. Shut down everything that doesn't matter.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Donald Shepis. I am the team lead for Calclord. Here's some lovely placeholder art. And you need just crash? Come on, Build. You can do it. There we go. Okay. It's probably the internet being a bit slow because everything's tied into our PlayFab backend. For this sprint, we were focusing on so something that we found at the end of last semester is that the avatar screen wasn't as central as it needed to be, because that is where we're going to be displaying a lot of the progress information to the students. So we went ahead and we kind of reworked our entire design concept for how we're going to present the GUI to the players. And so now everything is focused on the avatar screen being central. We also had a lot of work as far as the back end is, so that's kind of hard to show. But so now we've reworked how everything in the back end is being handled, so that way we're having less data requests through PlayFab, which will ultimately keep costs down when it comes to how many requests were allowed within a certain period in a month based on the package that we're using. And we also have it set up to where you can, we have all our equipment in the back end, and now we're just working on getting that into the front end. So here you can see we don't have any art for this scene yet because we're still working with our client to figure out exactly what he wants to populate in the scene. But now you can actually have the character go around, and that's a slight problem. Okay, it didn't give me the option to set the resolution. So the buttons are down here. You just can't see them right now, which,
Prove it.
let's see, crap. It's instantiating from the splash screen, which is a slight problem because I can't click the buttons.
Hotkeys.
We're not worrying about hotkeys for quite a while.
I think if you hold like Alt while you open it, it will give you that.
Will it?
Unless it's fully disabled. Maybe it's not all. Maybe it's one hotkey.
Control?
Right?
Shift?
Alt, control, one of those. Hold
Shift. There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Me.
You get to click off window?
Yeah. Make it look good. There we go. Now the button should be at the bottom. Come on, PlayFab. There we go. Okay, so we also, something that was very important for our client is he wants the XP tracker to be central to the entire process so that the students always see how far along they are in the year. And so we reworked all of our UI. We have brand new UI art for this. Now we're just in the process of tying everything into the back end. But now we've got, so it zooms in on your character whenever you're going into one of the other screens. That way the students see what equipment they have currently equipped as they're going through and selecting what quests they want to do, what things they want to buy in the shop, various things like that. So now that we've got everything set up to equip, now we just need to have our artists go in and have armor sets to actually start equipping onto the character. And that's what we've got so far for Calculor. We're also, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes with our client trying to, we're working out funding and investments and things like that. So a lot of our time is actually being spent there as well. Thank you.
Island Survivor.
Do higher level project manager. It's got a slice. So I think he can help you with some of this.
Cool. Yay! Cool. All right. Well, so much for the build.
Do you need admins?
Yes, if you have it.
No, but everybody get IT here. Oh, good.
Why? It is, but I s-
Sign back in.
Cool. Okay, so my name's Ian Goldsmith, and my project is Ion Survivor. We're kind of a new team, even though Ion Survivors ran through the production studios class before. So the first 3 weeks, a lot of it has been brushing back up on the tools, getting familiar with the things that the individuals working on the different tasks needed to know and learn. Designers had to read documents and stuff. So for the first off, we did team organization Axosoft. We went the Axosoft that I built before it got deleted, had a bunch of stuff in it, but I made it for just about 4 people because usually I don't get a whole lot of people joining the team. So with this semester, with the 12 people that we have, I needed more tasks, so I decided to leave the old Axosoft down and just allow the team leads to build their own backlogs. and then build the communication channels between the on-ground students and the online students and the team leads to be able to talk to anybody and everybody. And this is to show sort of what we have. A lot of the tasks aren't yet in Axosoft. We only have been able to get out to this week, week 3. Today will be a day that we focus on getting the rest of the tasks loaded into Axosoft, so we have a backlog to choose from when we do our Scrum meetings. And then for the design team, they've been focusing on the class and tribe backgrounds. For the 5 classes that we plan to have, they need to have like a very small excerpt of information that a player could quickly read and get an understanding for what the class does and what abilities they add to the team. Map familiarization, one of the online designers is tasked with designating where static mobs are going to be, roaming mobs, where the resources are going to spawn throughout the map, and then the item and recipe breakdown for the weapons and equipment also needs to be fleshed out, and that's what we've been working on, as well as running through basic Unreal 4 stuff to get familiar with the engine, because it's not an engine that's widely used here at UAT, both for on-ground and online. So here's a quick showing of what we've got done for the background stuff. And the island, we jump over to get that loaded.
Sure, yeah, you good.
And
This is why it just needs a prerequisite.
yeah, so we have a build, and when I get to the programming section, I'll be able to play it. It's basically the same build that I've had since we started. We haven't been able to add anything yet because the first 3 weeks have been tool familiarization, getting familiar with Unreal 4, and going through all the documents, and doing the team building and communication stuff. So there hasn't actually been any assets generated that have been added to the build, but I do have a playing build that will be initializing and loading and hopefully playable during my presentation.
Go ahead. It
Sit?
should
Okay, cool.
be. Eventually it'll.
So yeah, here's the map. He's going to be going through, and a lot of the open cavities that you see are going to be where he's going to be placing or designating where static and roaming camps, resources, locations, and where players spawn and all that. And this is the item breakdown. Generally, what they have so far is how the resources build into each other. So not all the items are being made with bone, leather, and stone. They also have planks and iron, ingots and nails and stuff. And then this is a quick photograph of the introduction stuff to Unreal that I have available for everybody on the team, and a lot of the designers have run through this just to get a familiarization. Here's the programming team stuff, basically just getting familiar with Unreal and the blueprinting process. One of the online programmers on the team is actually doing the C++ stuff. So I'm going to have to speak with him because I don't know if what he's working on currently is going to work with the client to server communication that the game or the project is going to require. But he is tackling the C++ monster, and I'm proud of him for it. And we'll get back to that as soon as it's good. And then the art team. The art team has spent the majority of these past 3 weeks trying to get their style matching. They've been. I wanted initially for it to be sort of a hand-painted texture, where the artists would actually apply their skill to make it look good instead of just grabbing images off the internet and then making a texture for the models. But the style matching was not a success, and the art lead decided that it was not the direction that we should be going, and we've moved back into realistic textures. And this is images of what they have done so far. Mainly Matt has done this. I haven't been able to get photos or screenshots of work from other people, but I have seen the stand-ups from both Taylor and what Arian's been working on. And that's basically it for the presentation without the build. Are we good? Cool. Will you play, please? Syncing. Yay! Okay, so, yeah, you can log in, pick a picture, and hopefully I'm also going to need admin assistants to get the networking done through the school. It won't, it's not for now, but the network stuff, communication doesn't work here at the school. I'll talk to you later. Sorry. Yeah, this stuff. We don't need it for right now because it's just single player, but the character select works. It zooms in on all the characters, and the right side is where the player information is going to populate. So obviously I'm the host, and then that's the username I just typed in. It is through Steam, but Steam's not loaded on these computers, so I can't open up that menu. But your Steam ID would be where I have my name, so that's going to be the Steam ID instead. And then as you're doing the character select, right now I just have a quick sentence explaining what the classes are, but where the class breakdown that the designers are working on will be in here or in another screen if we decide to expand the UI elements to give a further explanation of what the classes are and what their abilities are and what assets they bring to the team overall. And when you launch the game, as you saw in the initial presentation I made 3 weeks ago, you move around. This is all client to server communication, so as the client, this computer right in front of me is also the host. When I right click, it sends the information to the server, and then the server moves the pawn and then sends that information back to the client to let the player know that he's moved his character, which is a little different than most single player games are built. But the inventory stuff works, and it all shows up and replicates, and if we had other people that I could have load into the game, they'd all be able to run around, pick up these items as well. And that's really easy and simple to look at, but super complicated to program and build. So I'm really happy about that, but there's not really much else to show. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, so I'm the team lead for Morpheus. This is my Scrum Master / program lead. And where is the presentation, Todd?
It's in the drive.
Oh, is the drive still?
No, it's not open.
Okay, go ahead and do that real quick for me. Oops, okay, all right.
Want to sign with your account?
Go for it, Todd.
Wow, I got strange stuff on my drive though.
You should have had it downloaded, man. Oh, man.
Well, there's not much on the presentation.
We'll just show you the build because that's where the cool stuff is. We were going to show you some of the concept art that the artists made, but that's okay. Okay, so we're going to show off capturing first, or?
Sure.
Okay. Is it this one?
I think that one's yours. It's the other
Oh,
one.
this is yours. Yeah, I put a date on mine. Okay.
Okay.
Sweet. Alright, cool. Whoa, okay, you still have that in that one. Okay. Other build's much more polished. So we're going to the canyon over here, Todd?
Yeah.
Okay, so we developed a bunch of areas in this world so far. We haven't yet meshed them together into an island, which we're going to be doing soon. But over here, did you add a teleport key, Todd?
No.
Okay. We're going to walk over here then. You can see there's a wolf over there doing some weird stuff. We just got the animations finished, and we were messing with pathfinding. So we did this all yesterday for the wolf. If we get close enough to him, he should run up this cliff. So yeah, this is all right here, work in progress. This is like the last thing we worked on. Oh, there's the camera. And it's really bright. Yeah, this looks way better than the other one, Todd. He's jumping across the crags, and yeah, we're still polishing up the animations, but I think it looks wonderful. So yeah, that's our wolf pathing for this one. Is there a button I press, Todd, to capture this guy?
Yeah, when you get behind him, press E.
Okay, press E. All right. So we can press E to capture this guy. We haven't got the animations in, but what will happen is you'll be able to stab your sword into him, like you sneak up behind him. You're just slaughtering this wolf. He disappears. That's how you kill things right now. And right now the form wheel doesn't have pictures because that was a bug we faced, but he should be in the wheel now. Yep, there he is. And he looks very dark because we killed him. So we have this whole idea of if you kill him, he will have this deranged, creepy look. And if you befriend him with a puzzle that you solve, and you see there's a cave behind us, that's where the puzzle would be. If If you solve that puzzle and befriend him and help him get back into his cave, you befriended him. And this is all the stuff we're going to be polishing in the next sprint. In the other build, we're going to show off some of the other stuff we've been hard at work on. Let's do full screen. I don't like windowed. We had to write our character controllers from scratch. That was actually the most difficult part because every form has a different collision, and the character controller in Unity has only a capsule, so we had to deal with that. Yeah, much better in here. I turned the bloom down because the bloom was just way too much. But yeah, we've been working on this concept for the eye. That's like two particle systems working together. I think it looks awesome. We had a student outside the class help us with that. Over here in the woods, we actually have a sword pedestal where you'll first get your sword. And you can pull that out. I believe, yeah, there you go. Now it's on my back. So we had to work with making sure the transforms were there so we can snap it there. And that pedestal should appear again. Okay, cool. And then we can do things like this where we can plug the sword into a pedestal and activate something in the world. We have things behind the scenes, like they're called Unity events, and we can plug functions in and basically hook this pedestal up to anything we want. There we go. There's that crazy wolf again. We're not going to go over there quite yet. There's some stuff at the end that wasn't in the other build. But over here we have the canyon that our designer was working on. This will be one of the areas that you go to get to the canyon, but like I said, it's not all connected yet. But it's pretty cool. There's some like jumping, platforming stuff here. But overall, it has a nice aesthetic. We're going to be adding more foliage and stuff to the sides of the cliff. We have a shader for the water, so it actually looks like it's waving. I believe if I hit one of these key, yeah, there we go. We're at the garden now, so this is going to be one of our puzzles in the next sprint, where the wolf can kind of track flower scents and find and combine color combinations to progress. And you can see Jonathan, that's our designer. He's been really hard at work with the detail. It looks absolutely wonderful. And then yeah, here's our wolf again. All right, so I'm going to show one more thing. It's going to tie into those eyes you see in the sky. Those eyes are actually called memory rifts, and what they do is they open up and then they show a memory. There's our crazy wolf again. So the eye will open up and you'll see a video play. And the video will show some aspect in the hero's past, some mistake he made. And you can see right there, we have the video working in the scene. We're going to have to mask it so it fits inside the eye, but yeah, we're making tons of progress. I'm having fun. Yeah, that's Morpheus.
Alright, Consequencer.
Oh, cool.
Hello everyone, I'm Ivan, lead of Consequencer. And pretty much the whole first sprint was trying to let the dust settle. We had a lot of new individuals coming into our team, and we needed to let them know what was going on and what was happening. And pretty much it's what I call the whetstone time. So we get what we have and start trying to refine it. For programmers, this was a lot of cleanup time. We looked at the code and realized that there was actually a lot of non-OOP style coding, which is non-object oriented style programming. And actually one of those was our narrative structure system. And we realized that if we went and tried to fix it, it would have most likely taken longer to actually get anything done. So we're switching over to a more object style container data structure. So scriptable objects, things like that. And going by this system will also allow our designers to pretty much get in all the storylines and basically all the checks really easy through the Unity editor. So they don't have to mess around with XML files and the pain that they can be when it comes to syntax. So yeah, for us programmers, that's been our big issue. It's just clean up a lot of things that were left in disarray. For our designers, there's been a lot of changes in the documentation. We ended up culling our near 20 pages GDD down to pretty much 5 pages. And I'm amazed by the work they've done. And they've also started working on more story and narrative pieces, which I'm also proud. And for artists, it's been a lot of work, style matching to the art style, and of course creating more buildings. And they've started working on that, and the same thing with characters, since our old characters didn't really necessarily match with our art style. I would show you a build, but unfortunately, since we're transitioning over from the old structure, the old narrative structures to the new one, it's still a bit, yeah, unfortunately, it won't run at the moment. So our goal is to pretty much get that done ASAP, since we're actually going to have some members going to GDC, and we would like to have a prototype tutorial so that once people are over there, they could just download our game, and we can get some great publicity and that. So yeah, pretty much it's just a lot of refinement and cleaning up at the moment. And thank you.
So, hi everyone. I'm Bart Driscoll. I'm the project owner for the game Reign of Rebellion right now. What we have to show today is a quick video showing off our test level and some of our code that we have done so far with character controller and networking. So we just have a simple splash screen and a little bit of UI, and yeah, 2 players moving around. And this is running on 2 different computers. This is why we brought in a video. And so most of the work we've had done so far over this sprint was just building up the documentation, getting used to how everyone works, what their skill set is, and getting started on building the product. Going forward, we're getting ready to start implementing some of the features we're adding onto our shareholders' original ideas were, and that's what we have so far.
Foodmeister. Any representative of Foodmeister in the house?
Close the window and make a new one.
Alright, so I'm Kyle Thomas and I'm the Foodmeister project lead, and we did a build video last week for the client so that Derek could take it to them, and I was just going to play that as it.
This will be our build review number 1. Here we have the map. You can see custom markers are currently on there. That show the restaurants
So we
that
currently
are
have
in
custom
the
markers,
vicinity
which is the
of
logo,
us.
and eventually
Here is the
Rachel's gonna be
current
working on
registration
some
system. It's a unified one-page registration, which you can enter your name, your birth date, and your gender. And here is the sign-in when you first launch the app. You will click your sign-in, you will get your, click your username, and then it will sign you in.
Okay, so currently the sign-in doesn't work. It used to, but when we switched, when the online students that we were working with last semester, they were the ones who wrote a lot of the sign-in code. It apparently broke, and now we need to look into Google authentication and why it doesn't work. But we also have the custom, like I said, the custom map markers here, which Rachel will be working on a new way to, because it'll filter profiles based upon who's there, and it'll kind of show which markers match your profiles. And then we have the registration, which is right here, and we're unifying it into, because it used to be where you go from one page to another, you enter your name, you would enter your birth date, and now we're unifying it into one single page. And Serena, who's our online student, will be doing new designs for the registration, and that hopefully she had that done for this week, I think. And yeah, and then we have, like I said, we have the sign in, which you will be able to, and then once you sign in for the first time, next time you launch the app, you won't actually have to sign in ever again. So it'll just launch the app, and it'll launch you directly into the map after that. And Raymond is currently working on a slide out navigation. So you'll click that thing up here in the top, and then it'll be like a navigation drawer to navigate through the entire app. And yeah, that's currently what we have for this week.
Why are you asking for birthday and gender?
The Foodmeister wanted that for, I think, data gathering.
So can only one person be logged in on that?
There's an account holder, and then he can set up 3 separate profiles, so like the family member, whoever wants it. The account holder will have a profile, and there'll be 3 sub-profiles.
And why connect it to Google? Why do Google sign in?
Because they said it was Android, so it would be easier to already have an email that you don't have to set up a whole new account. You just need your phone. And it's only used for just to get the account set up, and after that you can always delete it. Sign in after that.
Yeah.
Just like a button sign in.
All right, leads, be sure to bring any hurdles and problems that you're having, questions, concerns to your lead meeting, and we'll see you then. Another round of applause for everybody. This is a great round. Yeah, a lot of work done. We also want to recognize our online contributors, so we'll give them a hand too. Great job, everybody. And we will see you next time. Now, remember, for the next milestone, that's around our midterm week, and so what we'll be doing is pulling in a lot of other professors. They're going to give you an in-depth review on your art, your design, and your code. So be sure to take that into consideration as you're doing your sprint planning this week, and if you have any questions, see us after. All right, stop recording.